All right. Good morning. Today,
Good
we've already
morning.
visited the YMCA this morning. We had a chance to walk around and see the Y and do behind the scenes with the YMCA or Y. And this morning, we also had a chance to talk to Never Lost, aka CASA, is what was known as around here. So this morning we have with us, Wendy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Wendy Green. I'm Executive Director of Never Lost.
And Wendy is actually located in Thomas. She is the regional director. We tell us a little bit about your organization, changes, of course, that's happened.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having us today. So, Never Lost is the 501c3 nonprofit organization that hosts the CASA Kids program. So, our headquarters office is in Thomasville, Georgia. We were established in Thomasville in 1994 as Thomas County CASA, one of the first CASA programs in the state of Georgia. And we've expanded through the years and grown. Our organizational name has changed as we've expanded territories. So we started serving in Brooks County in Quitman in 2007, and then expanded into Colquitt County in 2017 with our CASA Kids program. We have several programs, but they're all centered around child welfare, around services for vulnerable children and children who have experienced abuse and neglect. And we are happy to have our CASA Kids program established in Colquitt County in juvenile court.
Great. Good. Well, we're glad to have you over here. We've heard some great things about CASAs, and I know some people that are CASAs, and CASA are court-appointed special advocates. Can you tell us anything about the statistics for Colquitt County specific?
There's a tremendous need. In 2017, when CASA joined, when we came to Colquitt County, the numbers were staggering. The number of children in care, if you compare to the statewide, it was almost double the number of children in care per capita, and children staying in care longer. And that's a problem that we see oftentimes when a child enters foster care. Their parents have to complete a case plan to be able to have custody returned back. So until that case plan is completed, then the child remains in foster care, and it's an unsettling time for children. It's difficult for them. They don't have the stability and the necessarily the things that they need, and they're in limbo. So CASAs come in and are able to do an independent investigation of the circumstances, make recommendations to the judge as far as what's in the best interest of the child. And we've seen great results with that. CASA Kids established in 2017, and the numbers have drastically reduced for the children in foster care since then. And that's the result of a lot of people partnering together. And we've been really welcomed into the community and been so thankful for the reception that we received there. But our goal is to have a CASA volunteer for every child that's in foster care. And it's a great one-on-one way for them to have individualized attention. A DFACS case manager may have up to 25 cases, but a CASA is someone who knows the case in and out, knows everything about that child's history, about their needs, and can make really educated recommendations to help the judge as he makes decisions on that child's behalf.
Can you tell us a little bit about, can you tell us how many kids are in foster care system right now, maybe, or how many kids that you're actually working with? And then maybe tell us a little bit about, just a little bit about what, I guess, more in depth of a CASA, or maybe like a success story, if you would.
Yes, absolutely.
Something local here in our county.
So there's just under 50 children that are in foster care in Colquitt County at this current moment. When we started in Colquitt County, there were over 100 and I think 125, over 125 in foster care. So that number's been more than cut in half since that time. But there still remains 50 children in foster care. And to have a CASA volunteer for every one of those children, we still need about 20 CASA volunteers in Colquitt County, 20 more. So that's our real focus. Finishing out this year is to provide training classes. So CASA doesn't have to have any specific background to serve a child, just a willing community citizen who's interested in being a part of changing a child's story, giving them a voice in court. We provide all the training that CASAs need. So they go through a 25-hour training. We do a hybrid model, so that part of that is done in person and the other part is done online and with homework assignments throughout. So in October, we'll have new training sessions starting October and November. And it's typically about 4 in-person sessions that are about 2 hours apiece, and then homework throughout. So once a person completes that and completes the background checks, there's a extensive background checks, as you'd expect, because we're working with children and have access to really protected information. So once they complete that, they're sworn in as officers of the court, officers of juvenile court, and they become court-appointed special advocates. And they are assigned to a child's case, and then are through a court order, are able to do a complete independent investigation, meet with the child, meet with the family, meet school teachers, therapists, really be able to get a 3,000-foot view of that child's circumstances and know the details of it and get to know them. And we have seen just tremendous results with CASA. Generally, when a child has a CASA volunteer, they exit foster care, about 8 months earlier. So they're able to get permanency faster. They're also able to get more services while they're in care. The family's able to get more services. And when children have a CASA volunteer, their likelihood of returning to foster care is reduced by 50% of the odds of them coming back into foster care later. So we've seen some really beautiful stories there where CASA volunteers have been able to go in and get the full understanding of the case and be able to even work with parents. We are solely focused on the child's best interest, but it's oftentimes that helping those parents get the services they need that is in the child's best interest, so that their parent can be healthier and they can return back home. And we've had situations where CASAs have been able to go in, get to know that family, understand more of how the family ended up in the situation that they are, make sure that the parents get the services and complete services to help them become a better parent. We've seen children return back home where you thought that they would never even be able to be safe in that home, and return back home to healthy parents that can actually parent them. And we've also had circumstances where CASAs have been able to, children that have been in foster care for over 4 years, and the case not finalized, and the CASA can go in and make recommendations to help the judge as he makes those decisions, and establish that the foster parents are willing to adopt and be able to get that child permanency, through adoption, but in a home where they're able to live stably for the rest of their lives and know that they're safe and protected and have a family to call their own.
Great. Well, so can you tell us, and I know that you have to kind of work with the children advocacy centers in different counties. Can you tell us a little bit about how that plays a part, or how you guys can work together?
Absolutely. So there are so many partners. We've just getting to know Colquitt County as a community has been amazing. There's just such a phenomenal community with people willing to roll up their sleeves and jump in. So CASA volunteers and the CASA Kids program work alongside with the Child Advocacy Center. I'm sure you're familiar with the Child Advocacy Center. If there are allegations of abuse or neglect, then the child will be seen there for an interview to be able to get more information about that. And CASA volunteers are able to be a part of observing those interviews, take that information and serve forward. The difference there is that the interview is done at the Child Advocacy Center, but our services are geared more towards once the child is removed from their home. So a child could be seen at the Child Advocacy Center, and it determined whether or not that was abuse or neglect. But 100% of our children are referred to us by the juvenile court judge. So it's not children who we believe need additional services necessarily, or who just have circumstances in their life. They have been adjudicated dependent, meaning they have come to court, they've been removed from their parents' home and placed in foster care. And the CASA volunteer stays with that child visiting them monthly, and stays with their case until the child reaches permanency. We ask a CASA volunteer to do that because they'll have so many people in and out of their lives. When a child has been in foster care for a year, on average, they've had 4 different DFACS caseworkers. The turnover is high. The burnout is a difficult job. So from the time that a child's removed from their parents, they can have up to 4 different DFACS caseworkers. They may have been in 3 different foster homes during that time too. But for a CASA volunteer to be able to come in from the beginning, and I say, we're not foster parents. We don't bring children home. We don't transport them, but we proverbially walk them to the front door of their forever home, whether that's returning back to their parents or whether that's through adoption. But we ask the CASA to stay with that child in their case for continuity. And oftentimes the CASA is really the expert, in the courtroom and in the child's life, even in the community, that they're able to provide information about the child, and they're the ones that really know the circumstances. But we are able to participate in things like the MDT meeting with the child advocacy centers to work collaboratively and together to make sure that the child has all the services that they need.
Great. Yeah, we're glad to have you here. And so I just want to ask you a little bit about which gears first, and we'll come back. But tell me a little bit about you. Some fun facts if you want to, and but I also would love to hear a little bit about what made you choose to start this organization or be a part of Never Lost CASA.
Yes, thank you. My background is actually business. My degree is in business, and I've always had sort of an entrepreneurial spirit. From a young age, I was starting businesses and buying and selling things. I did own my own business before I came to this organization, and in a I guess you could call it a quarter life century midlife crisis, I was fortunate enough to have some time to take some time off and sort of reflect and decide where I wanted to go next. And so I had some small children at the time, and I spent a year, learning guitar and just being home with them. And when I was thinking, I'm really ready to get back out into the community, the opportunity came up to start the Brooks County CASA program. So at that time, we were expanding into Brooks County, and I've always just had a heart for social work. I owned a car lot before and was doing my own financing, was doing a buy here, pay here, and financing my own vehicles. And I found myself, people would come in to make their payment, and they'd be short on their money, and I would find myself saying, let's sit down and go through your checkbook and see how we can budget this in, or, don't worry about your payment this week, get groceries for your children. Or they'd make their payment, and then I would be delivering groceries back to their house. So I've always sort of had a natural lean towards that, and a social work heart, an interest in helping people. And it was just a good opportunity. So in 2007, I came on to start the Brooks County CASA program, got the program established there in the court system, and then moved to one of our other programs, which is our family support program, one that we hope to have there. There's a desperate need for that, and we hope to be able to expand that into Colquitt County. But it serves relative caregivers. So when a relative takes custody of a child, instead of them going into foster care, we're able to monitor that placement, help them get the resources they need, make sure that the child's safe there, provide them with things like summer camp and Christmas. And so I did that program for several years. And in 2017, our executive director was ready to retire, and it just was a natural time. So I was able to take her position. And since then, we've grown and expanded, gone through another name change, added on Colquitt County. We purchased a headquarters office in Thomas County and did a complete renovation of it, a 1900s home. And so I've hit the ground running, and we're just excited to be there in Colquitt and to have growth and see what the next 10 years hold for us.
So did you tell us a little bit about the change? I don't remember if you told us where you were and how you changed your name. Did you talk about that? Or did you want to talk about the bird and what that means?
About that with you. Yeah. So in 2017, our organization name was
we're
Family
behind the
Enrichment
scenes.
Group. Okay, there we go. Was Family Enrichment Group. So Family Enrichment Group was our organizational name, and we had the CASA Kids program, the Family Support Program, a few other programs under that. So just looking at the rebranding, looking at how to freshen things up. At the time, we were in the juvenile court building in Thomas County. It's behind 2 locked doors. It's a 10 by 12 office. It was in-kind space. We're really fortunate to have it, but we were really outgrowing it, and it was limiting what we could do. Wasn't a really great space, not a good space to be able to bring children into. So knowing that there's so much more that we can do with children, we want to give them permanency and make recommendations, but also just to be able to invest in their lives for the time that they're in foster care. We started looking at what we could do, and kind of ended up with a long list. This 1900s office space in Thomas County, a home sitting on 2 acres, just in the middle of the city limits. It just sort of came up, was listed at the time. Seemed very far out of reach, did not seem like something that we would be able to obtain, but we kind of kept working the numbers and budget and thinking maybe we could just buy the place and, all sit in one office with a card table. We could eventually grow into it. And we were able to secure, the board approved the purchase of the building. We were able then to secure a grant afterwards that helped us with remodel and furnishing it. And then went through the process of name change. So we looked at the organization and ended up with Never Lost, as it just really represents what we do with children, of making sure that they're not lost in the system. The child welfare system is it's a real maze. It's an overburdened, overtaxed system. And so our job as guardian ad litems, lay guardian ad litems, is just to ensure that children aren't lost in that system, that they have a voice, that they're spoken for. And our logo has a robin on it. If you haven't heard that, but the robin has a compass in his right eye. So essentially, it's a tool to help it as it makes the migration journey, the difficult journey home through migration. So that's a good reminder for us that as we help children find their way back home. But yes, it's been a rewarding, a difficult but rewarding process to go through the name change, the rebranding, and the remodel process all at once.
I'm trying to see if there's a way I can bring up on the screen a version of your logo so you'd be able to see it. I know they have it in the top right hand corner. I think it's the right hand corner. I don't know if it's flipped or not when people look at it, but we do have it in there. I will try to post that in the comments so people can kind of see a version of it so you can see it. But yeah. I think that the story behind it is very symbolic, and I think that is amazing that, anything that you put your time and your effort into it, to make sure that it fits and that it is in line with your branding and what your purpose is. I think that's very instrumental and innovative on yours. So great job. Let me see if I can pull that up.
There it is.
Okay. The one, is this it?
That's it. There you go.
I don't have it very big though. But that is the logo. So there we go. So I know that I've asked you a million questions, and you have accommodated us to extend, but I didn't know if you have any questions or anything you would add.
No, we just really appreciate
I was going to see if we had any comments. We had one. Somebody said hello. Yes. And if you want to quickly wrap up, know, where would you say that your funds come from for Colquitt County? Can you kind of tell us your funding partners for our community?
Yes, well, United Way is one of our largest local funding partners, and so that has been so instrumental for us to be able to be established there in Colquitt County. It's been a tremendous resource for us, and just for it to be such community involvement too. So it's the financial support, but just also knowing the community backing, knowing that individuals and the way that comes together is just really, it's really, really powerful for a nonprofit. So we are so appreciative of that. Those funds allow us to have staff there, allow us to hold CASA trainings, to be able to provide manuals and the 30 hours of instruction to become a CASA volunteer. they allow us to have the tools and resources to support volunteers. So once someone becomes a CASA volunteer, they have CASA staff behind them, holding their hand the whole way and walking them through the steps, giving them advice and supervision as they work on those court reports. So CASAs are never alone in their work, and United Way funding helps us cover that too. So we're really appreciative. We do have CASA trainings happening in Colquitt County. We have trainings that happen during the day and evening. In November, we'll have Saturday sessions. We'll have 2 Saturday sessions. So plenty of ways. If you're interested in being a CASA or in finding out how you can get involved, just feel free to give us a call, and we'd love just to share more about the opportunity with you.
And that's your biggest need right now is volunteers, correct, to be CASAs?
That's right. Our goal is by January to have a CASA volunteer for every child in foster care. And there's such a need right now, of course, pandemic, and the circumstances now. Children need a voice now more than ever.
That's absolutely true. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And if we have any questions from the community, we will get those sent to you, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.